Hello there. Thanks for joining us for another edition of your Saraway CueSports show. It is CueSports on National Television. My name is Jide Olaniran. Thanks for joining me, and it's good to be back. So many things we're looking at on the show today. We've got the Predator Premier League, and also we will be looking at what a wonderful woman is doing with snooker in Asia. And of course, when we come back home, we've got some news from the SPPA, that's the Snooker Pool Players Alliance of Nigeria. They've got their Chinese Pool Challenge Series going. They've started this particular edition, this particular championship or series, as I will call it, and also the leaders board for the month of February. We'll be looking at those who are doing very well, who is displacing who as far as the leaders board is concerned. Okay, that's it. Just stay tuned and let us take you through the best of CueSports on the show. We're going to break, and when we come back, we'll start with the news beats, and from there, we will move straight to the discussion segment. Don't you go away. Keep it locked right here for CueSports. Welcome back, straight to the business of the day. Joining me to look at the business as usual, it's Jackie Midada. Joe joins me again. Joe.
Yeah, Jimmy, it's good to be back. We've not been around for quite a while, about 2 months, and it's good to be back here, discussing and talking about all things CueSports, that's snooker, billiards, and pool.
Yeah, especially when you are on the one-stop shop for anything CueSports. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, Joe, let's kickstart the business. Predator Premier League pool. That's what we are starting with. Big ups to Matchroom once again. And the winner is...
Yes, Abiodun won. Proud to that. Remember in 2021, sometime in November, Matchroom and the World Ball Pool and Billiards Association (WPA) did introduce what to call the ranking, the global ranking for 9-ball pool, and then they classified Abiodun, the Austrian, as the #1 9-ball player in the world, and he lived up to his billing in that particular event in the final because he beat the German, and that was Joshua Fillet. I won't call it while up. The way we talk about it, it was a fight, a good fight. The match ended 7-5. Even initially in the match, we all expected, for those of us who watched it here locally, and we all expected that Joshua Fillet was going to win. Because at the start of the event, before anybody could understand what was happening, Joshua Fillet was leading 4-0. 4-0, and we just felt, oh my God, this is going to be a whitewash. But surprisingly, before we turned around on the 5th rack, we saw Abiodun come back, and he won 4 straight racks, and it ended 4-4, went up to 5-5, and before Joshua Fillet could get, that's where experience comes to bear any day. That's the difference between the big boys. I won't say the small boys because Joshua Fillet is not a small boy. Joshua Fillet is a classic player. If you know Joshua Fillet, he's a great player. He's a great player. And before we understood the game, the match ended 7-5, and that was how Abiodun ended up proving that he be ranked world #1. It's not a fluke.
For me, really too, because looking at last season, Joshua Fila was one of the best players last season with that kind of form that he showed last season. One would expect that.
We expected a good match, actually. We did expect a good match, actually. But at the end of the day, remember that Matchroom, I won't say Matchroom is injecting a lot of life into 9-ball pool. 9-ball pool is not globally, I won't use the word it's not globally popular. It's popular because, we have different formats of pool, 9-ball pool, 8-ball pool, we have 10-ball pool. It's popular. Some people prefer playing 9-ball pool because of its resemblance to snooker. Because the players play their balls in numbers. You play ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, and the person that plays ball 9 ends up winning. Even on the local scene, many of Nigerian players do not like playing 9-ball pool because they said it's not fair. Because you might end up putting all your balls, ball 1 to ball 8, and you now miss ball 8, and you give your opponent an opportunity, and he ends up putting the 9-ball, and he has won. And so quite a number of players feel somehow when it comes to 9-ball pool. But at the end of the day, for me, it's also the ultimate test for pool because it's the closest to snooker, and it shows your proficiency and your ability to control your cue ball. And Albert has proved his mantle, and he has walked away with the $20,000 first prize for the winner.
And of course, the fact that there's something there is a semblance between what we have right now ranking and what this, for example, the Snooker and Pool Players Alliance has been consistently emphasizing, in the last 2-3 years about the need to, rank.
Yes, I will once again repeat it that the difference between a game and a sport is the availability of a ranking platform, a ranking format. For games, you can just catch your phone as you like. But you see, the difference is that without a ranking, the activity is just a game. And once again, Matchroom has proven that having a ranking for pool, 9-ball pool, is needed, and it's injecting some drive, it's injecting some push into 9-ball pool.
Of course, we just hope that right now the player to beat is Abiodun, who the Australian who is doing very well right now. So who wants to pull him down and take his place gradually?
And for me, I also look at it that the ranking system is still, I look at it, it's still in its developmental stage. Exactly. They are still trying to figure out what is the best format, what's the best way of ranking the players. So most of the players will remain, most of the rankings, as far as I'm concerned, will remain more like transitional or temporary for the time being until they can fine-tune with the WPA. They can fine-tune everything that has to do with the international ranking. One challenge I have is that most of the tournaments that is being offered, we call them most of the ranked tournaments, are going to be played in Europe and in America. So even if you're a 9-ball pool player and you are doing very, very well in Africa, if you do not have the opportunity of traveling to Europe or traveling to America, you end up not having
your name
on the short list. And that, for me, I think is a downside. I believe it's a downside. It must be a way for them to open it up to allow other tournaments that are not Euro-based to come into, because right now I think we have like 6 tournaments that are classified as ranked tournaments: Mosconi Cup, US Open, UK Open is going to be ranked. We have the league is going to be ranked, and quite a number of other 2 or 3 more tournaments will be ranked. So if I'm a good player here in Africa, in Nigeria, or in South Africa, or in Egypt, or in Morocco, if I do not have the opportunity of going to play in those tournaments, I end up not getting in the ranking.
Well, I know that it's not really a big deal those who are managing the sports will be thinking of how to harmonize all those things that you've raised.
So it's also a reminder to the All African Pool Association, that's APA. There is need for us to work so hard to harmonize what we are doing in Africa. We should have a tour. We should have a tour like you have, so that somehow, if now I want to play in a very good tournament, outside playing Nigeria, I have to fly all the way to South Africa. So we should have a tour that for select players, where they will be able to go around from Morocco, Egypt, Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya. We should have tournaments in all of these countries, and the players will be allowed to travel around all of these tournaments and get not only experience, showcase their skill with a view to getting invited to the matchroom events
and make it into the
to the big stage. I'll call it the big stage. Make it to the big
bracket
stage
of the big boys or big stage.
Sure.
And that brings the question again: should I say, how easy or how accessible as some of the African countries is from one place to the other? Traveling, how easy is it to travel around Africa with the issue of tour that you have just raised now?
So those are some of the challenges. Unlike in Europe, where you have things like Zhengyi visa, even Europe, I doubt if you don't really have need of visa. If you are going to go from Germany, if you are going to go to Germany to the UK, if you want to go around, you don't have all of these restrictions. But in Africa, if I want to travel from Nigeria to South Africa, I know the effort it's going to take for me to make that trip, visa restrictions. So some of all of these obstacles, there is need for us to find a way of sitting down on the round table and iron it out. And those are some of the things the All Africa Pool Association, that is APA, those are some of the things that I call them the burning things that they should be finding out how to overcome some of these challenges.
All right. Okay, that's it. Let's just move on, of course, from the professional side of CueSports now to the developmental side. And the big one is that there is one lady, Victoria Chi, working out to make sure that there are great snooker players coming out of from Asia. And that's the fact that there is a Victoria Snooker Academy down there. And if the likes of Rooney Sullivan are commenting about this job, what this Victoria Chi is doing, that means that we should also give it a thought on the show.
I agree with Rocket, that's Ronnie Sullivan. I agree with him 100% about the work Victoria is doing, the impact it is having on the snooker stage. And I also agree and I foresee that in the nearest future, we have a lot of Chinese playing professionally. Remember that we have people like Makofu, we have Ding Junhui, we have Young Bitong. Remember 2021 Masters? He did so well, and I think he played Stevie Hendricks at the finals of the Masters in that particular event. And it was pretty impressive. And it even created so much snooker followership, even in China. So what Victoria Chin is doing, what the Victoria Chin Academy is doing as identified by Ron Sullivan, it's right, 100%. There's need for, if any sport will grow, we need to adopt a grassroots approach to its development. We need to adopt a grassroots approach to development. And Victoria Chin is doing the very, very right thing. And I see in another point is, if the plan for China to have a center or a venue that can rival the Crucible that is in Sheffield in the United Kingdom, they actually need the population of people that will go and be watching events in that center. And because in the center that in Yushan, in central China, they are building it because in 2018 they did announce, sometime around September 2018, they did announce they were investing close to $270 million in building and developing snooker, and especially in developing the snooker village. So if they will have to have a center that will rival the Crucible, where the World Championship and many other top snooker events, televised snooker events take place, then they need people who will go and watch.
Exactly.
And so investing in the grassroots development of snooker was a wise choice.
I think so. So let's just take that soundbite from the Phil Simmons interview, the one he had with the Rocket himself, Rooney Sullivan, and we'll be back to continue the discussion.
She's like a mother to all these young kids, you know, and they need that guidance and support. So she's been brilliant for them, and you know, Chinese snooker and Victoria, they do a fantastic job with their guys. It's just a shame that the UK can't copy the format, you know, because we're going to get left behind, you know, and it'll be a shame because, you know, we've had a lot of British players and a lot of European players, but, you know, if we don't do something about grassroots snooker, then, you know, it'd just be, it'd be like table tennis, you know, they'd just be batting us off the park.